Greetings, fiends. It's your old pal Horror Mike. And if you haven't already heard, the Internet Archive is back. Finally, after several weeks. Originally, it suffered a DDoS denial of service attack, and it was just flat gone. And a lot of people were wondering if it was ever going to come back again. For those who are not familiar with the Internet Archive, just a quick little bit of history before we get into the good stuff. The Internet Archive is building a digital library of internet sites and other cultural artifacts in digital form. Like a paper library, we provide free access to researchers, historians, scholars, people with print disabilities, and the general public. Our mission is to provide universal access to all knowledge. We began in 1996 by archiving the internet itself, a medium that was just beginning to grow in use. Like newspapers, the content published on the web was ephemeral, but unlike newspapers, no one was saving it. Today, we have 28 plus years of web history accessible through the Wayback Machine, which is great, by the way, if you ever get a chance to use it. And we work with 1,200 plus libraries and other partners through our Archive It program to identify important web pages. The countdown to terror has begun.
The signal's getting stronger now. It won't be long.
Come quick! The monster done ate my pappy!
Do you really think this was a bear, Doc?
Highly unlikely.
First man on Mars. Once he was human.
There's something shiny in the rock. This is really starting to sting.
Now a bloodthirsty monster, killing and devouring the young. And not so innocent.
Let's take a look at this, huh?
I'm gonna blast the thing back to hell.
Oh, shit.
First man on Mars.
You mean there's aliens out here? Shit, I don't want to get abducted and anal.
This film is not rated. Yes, Internet Archive has got a ton of the original Cine-Fantastic magazines, some of which are indispensable for the rabid film fan. Typically, Cine-Fantastic revolved around genre films, science fiction, horror, and fantasy, but occasionally they would tackle dramas or non-genre films. We're looking at a couple of great issues of Cine-Fantastic. October of 1985 issue, yes, folks, that is the Return of the Living Dead issue. And then right next to it, from 1976, that's volume 5, number 2, the Cine-Fantastic issue devoted to Logan's Run, the original film. Taking a look at this Return of the Living Dead issue of Cine-Fantastic, of course, leading off is an entire article about Return of the Living Dead on page 16. And the great thing about Cine-Fantastic is that they did deep dives into movies. Several weeks ago, I was going to show people their special double issue on Forbidden Planet, which has stuff that's going to blow your mind. We're going to look at that in a second, but check this out. Let's go to page 16. Return of the Living Dead, the story behind the illegitimate sequel to George Romero's low-budget horror classic. I mean, this is right when it came out, folks. And that, I believe, is a Bill Stout illustration of the Tar Man. Then we have Dan O'Bannon on directing. In his directorial debut, the screenwriter of Blue Thunder and Alien establishes himself as a genre talent to be reckoned with. A lot of stills that you are not going to find elsewhere, or that are just very rare. Let's put it that way. And more. Bill Stout once again doing storyboards. Of course, Don Calfa as the mortician. Tony Gardner down here at the bottom, who did a superb job with special makeup effects in the film and mechanical effects. Another article by Steve Bladrowski on Bill Stout on film design. Can you imagine having Bill Stout doing your storyboards and creature designs? Holy Toledo, man. The lovely Linnea. They have a few stills here, but of course the famous or should I say infamous cemetery dance scene by Linnea Quigley. Oh, yes. Down at the bottom, some more Bill Stout. Let me just show you one more from Cine Fantastic before we move on to other stuff. They got a ton of issues. I used to have a few of these issues. Issue on The Other, and then, of course, Christopher Lee as Dracula. That one, I think I had this one, The Man with the Golden Gun. I currently have this one. This is issue number 3 from 1971. Incredible spring 1979 double issue, volume 8, number 2 and 3. Forbidden Planet, folks. Check out that Vincent DeFat cover. It has Making Forbidden Planet on top at page 4, and I believe it's 60 plus pages. Let's take a look at a few of those pages. You're going to want to see this, folks. Great preliminary sketches, storyboards. They talk about the robot, the designs of everything, including Robbie, blueprints, folks. Yes, interior and exterior plans of Dr. Morbius's house. Of course, the Krell laboratory here. An intense amount of work went into the making of Forbidden Planet, and it shows. It's one of the great science fiction films of all time. There's no doubt about that. Holds up today. It's absolutely fantastic. That is the spaceship interior with the elevations. Here is the exterior full-scale saucer, which was made on stage 15. This stage is huge. Yeah, here's the entire control center on the ship. Technological marvel. This is the 1950s, folks. These people are kicking butt. And of course, here's Robbie, original Robbie. And there's the guy getting into the suit. Robbie the robot reports for work at MGM April 25th, 1955. Original designs for the id creature. Disintegrator ray. We see it taking its final form. Beautiful storyboards and preliminary paintings and drawings for Forbidden Planet. Dozens of pages, incredible photos, and scans of drawings and art that you are not going to find anywhere else. The blueprints on Robbie, how it operated, the guy inside, how it moved. Nice double page spread there. Of course, one of the original pieces of key art for the film. It just keeps going. This is amazing stuff, folks. The lovely Anne Francis and her leggy legs. Oh, yes. So you're going to find a lot of stuff like that in issues of Cine Fantastic. There's a lot of double issues where they take really deep dives into films such as Forbidden Planet. Next up, let's pay a visit to Wally Woodland. And it starts off with the Wally Wood Treasury from 1980 by Pure Imagination. That beautiful sci-fi Precode cover by Wally Wood. And there, of course, is a self-portrait of the man himself, Wally Wood. So there's a ton of stuff in here, folks. Here's Wally Wood art from Avon. Now, these are black and whites that would be on the inside front cover of each issue. This is from Police Lineup, I believe from 1951. I love these. Yeah, it says Police Lineup number 1, August of 1951. A lot of artists would do these, including Everett Raymond Kinsler. Strange Worlds number 3, also from Avon, of course. Murderous Gangsters number 1, July of 1951. And cheeky sci-fi art from Wally Wood right here. And this is definitely from Avon. Yes, it is Strange Worlds number 5 from 1951. And looking under Precode horror comics, for example, we find Graphic Horror, what appears to be a 1997 horror catalog for comics. The Horror, which is fantastic. I've got this book. Steve Ditko's working The Thing, another Precode title. Let's take a look at Bettie Page, shall we? Well, you can get yourself a Bettie Page welcome screen. And here we have the trailer for Bettie Page Reveals All. Let's take a look at that, folks.
It's a film in a million about that girl in a million, Bettie Page. The tease from Tennessee with her trademark black bangs. Made with her exclusive participation. Bettie Page reveals all.
There are very few girls that are built like that. Betty had a different torso than most girls. Her bone structure there, close to her waistline, and went way in to a very tiny waist.
And they have Bettie Page comic. Now, this is Dave Stevens. I think the interior art is Jim Silkey. The book on Bettie Page, Queen of Curves, by Bunny Yeager, who was, of course, her photographer for years there. A lot of individual photos and photo collections of Bettie Page, which is totally cool. You can pretty much find anything that you want, folks, in the Internet Archive. This is the front page that you'll typically see. And on top, it's got the Wayback Machine. So if you're looking for a website that no longer exists, drop that website into the Wayback Machine, and chances are you're probably going to find it. The internet is forever, and the Internet Archive makes sure it stays that way. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thank you.